Hey everyone, it's Dash. I know this video is kind of overdue. I just wasn't really feeling very motivated to do it, but I do want to finish this review and then I want to give my season overview. So I think it's just going to be a quick one I'm going to complete this review series and then I'm going to give my thoughts on House of the Dragon and how big I think it was that it revived enthusiasm in Game of Thrones again. In a way, I also think it kind of redeemed the poor ending of season 8 in a bit, but I'll get into that a little bit more. So, what did I think of episode 10, the final episode of the season? To be quite honest, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I was kind of expecting one of the more flashier finals you saw in Game of Thrones, like a big battle or something to cap everything off. But it is the first season, and I'm glad they're focusing on story because the pacing got really bad later on in Game of Thrones. So okay, no big battles just yet, but I think the individual scenes in episode 10 were phenomenal. Damien choking, Rhaenyra putting on her father's clothing and wearing his crown. It was and everything that happened at Storm's End with Luke. I think all those were great sequences, and it's all setups for a more it's set up for war. There's going to be more conflict, you know, in the next season, which is what season 1 of Game of Thrones was. It was just a setup for the conflict. All right, so now that I've given my thoughts on episode 10, here's my season overview. Well, so like I said before, this was kind of just set up for the main conflict, but the journey of this setup was great. It wasn't as good as Game of Thrones season 1, but it caught a lot of highs and even added some of its own flavor to Game of Thrones while also borrowing a lot from the original show. I think the acting was phenomenal. The king, phenomenal. Both Rhaenyra's, but especially young Rhaenyra. I really liked young Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra. sorry. This whole tragic thing between her and Alicent, like a lot of the palace intrigue. And what's really cool is they didn't tone down the world for a modern audience. It's Westeros is still just as cruel and medieval as it was in Game of Thrones. They were definitely softening things towards the end of Game of Thrones, and here they kept things real and they kept things brutal, which is what Game of Thrones should be. It's not a very pleasant it's not a pleasant place. It's not a pleasant world. It's full of backstabbing and bloodshed, and that's kind of the point. The point is that backstabbing and that bloodshed and all the politics behind it. Phenomenal job. I just can't wait for the next season. I know the show really embarrassed Amazon with the Rings of Power. I've been hearing that Amazon's hiding numbers for Rings of Power now. Oh man, so now Disney Plus is also going to be coming out with their own fantasy series, Willow. I don't think it's nearly going to do what House of the Dragon did. In fact, it might not even compete with Rings of Power. It's because who remembers Willow? I've never seen Willow. Anyway, yeah, this is my Game of Thrones season overview. Let me know what you think thought about the first season of House of the Dragon in the comments, and about the final, what you guys want to see in next season. And have a good day.